Hi guys, welcome back to another P3D version 5 video. We are today recreating another uh, real life flight that Aeroflot undertook back in '94, the summer of 1994, from Copenhagen to Stockholm Arlanda. And that was the first leg before they then went from Arlanda to Moscow. And I'll show it to you here in case you also want to do that. So it was the Aeroflot 2020 flight flying the RA85570 and departed at around 12:35 in the, I guess, afternoon. And we actually have that exact plane, so RA85570, or we don't have that exact plane, but we have the livery for that plane, which is why I thought this would be a fun flight to do. And we get to fly from the nice flight Tampa Copenhagen to the very nice Orbex Arlanda. Well, maybe a bit of an old version. I was hoping they would release a new version for P3D, but I haven't still seen anything on that. But yeah, here we are at Copenhagen. Very nice scenery around us. We have one of these nice A330-900s by Sun Class, a charter airline. We have one of the A330 300 by Scandinavian. I think it's the Rolls-Royce engines as well, and just a lot of different planes here, right? A lot of interesting traffic. Even a Fokker somewhere might be flying, or maybe it's parked here a bit further away, but yeah, so a very nice kind of setting. And I think I've been able to set all the viewpoints pretty nicely for this aircraft, but I'm just gonna have a quick check. So as you can see, we have some pretty nice viewpoints. We even have the engine viewpoints, so that's of course very nice. And we are gonna, I think, keep this outside viewpoint for the boarding and until we get ready for pushback. This flight will be a VR flight. I'll show you a little nav map. Hopefully at least we don't get any departures. I mean, I've put the setting with pilot to ATC so that we shouldn't get any SIDS or stars because we can't fly those. I can incorporate the GTM, but I want to fly a VR flight with this one. You can actually incorporate very nicely the RXP GTN. I'm going to jump in by basically changing this one to that. And it works very well, even with the bezel and stuff, but I don't know, it just felt wrong, right? If you're doing a historical flight from '94, better to do it as it should have been done. Potentially I guess they could have had a GPS, but this plane hasn't received that. But it's generally a very nice plane. There was a new update just 1 or 2 weeks ago, so it's just being, becoming better and better, and it is a very kind of sleek and lovely looking plane with the 3 engines there in the back, and I guess it's an S-duct. So similar to the Lockheed TriStar, right? So really only the MD-11 and the DC-10 who had that separate kind of engine there, the 3rd engine, right? And also interesting, of course, that all 3 engines are here at the back. So similar to the what's it called? The 727. And wait a sec. Okay, there we go. Minor real life coming in between. But yeah, let's get started. I think the first thing we can do, which is usually at least what I find as the kind of easiest thing just to set up already, is by just the boarding. We've loaded everything correctly with the SimBrief flight plan. We maybe have a bit more fuel than we would have just because I want to make sure we don't run out. So I think we have 15 tons instead of 13.5 according to our flight plan, but with no big difference. Let's see, our cruising altitude should be 330. So I'm gonna check if that is the case. Yep, 330 is correct on all our fronts. It won't be a super long flight. We're talking about 353 nautical miles, so it's not a short flight either, but not the longest. I don't think we have the Tupolev here, so we'll use the 727 to give us a proxy for that. We don't have any of those. But we should have the boarding music for Aeroflot and the safety brief for Aeroflot. So let's start that. And we can get started. And I don't think I'm able to set the parking brakes yet, so I need to get some things rolling here first. And the way I just need to open my checklist for this aircraft so I don't do it wrong. So we'll start with the, 'cause it's all in Russian, right? So I sometimes forget. You can have it in English as well, so that shouldn't be a major concern, but just so you're aware. Let's see, it seems like I didn't go totally cold and dark, so some of these buttons are set, the clock, etc. We'll put for the fire system, these are all the anti-ice ones. Usually they would be in the down position, same with those two, so these should all be up. And I think we can keep those at the back for now. And what we can do is start the APU. You can of course go with the, so that's if you want to do the GPU, but I think we can go directly to the APU. No point in waiting, so we'll start the first button here, which is the APU on one, I think. Then that one, so those are both related. Then the valve, and then the start button. That should get the APU started. And let's see now. So we're getting that up and about. Still can't set the parking brakes. I'm guessing it's hydraulics that we need. Okay, we can't seem to do that just yet. There we go. We almost have this ready. We have to push this up to get that one, the third one, unlit. Can then go up with that one, and I think this one, yes, that's the APU, right? So we will show the voltage. Not sure if you need to put this up, actually we can keep it down. Then the three hydraulic pressure or levers should go up, and hopefully this will enable us to set parking brakes, which it has. That's good. Let's see if we can get this working. We can request boarding. Here we should also put these up. They're already automatically now. These are all up. I think we also want to do these. But everything else is basically correctly set up. And let me just check. We want to put the total amount. And let me just check. I think it's this one, right? And it should be 15 tons. We don't need to board the crew. You can see all of this open. The question is, can we open the doors? I think we can, right? But I think you have to do it on the outside. So there we go. Now we can get the people boarded. And what else? These should all be up, so that's correct. the rectifiers, we can move those up, and it's these, but they're already up since I didn't go completely cold and dark. Just by mistake of my own. These are the fuel levers, we can put those on. And this is the engine start panel, which you can wait a bit with. Okay, there's no further rush to fix that. And I'm just gonna check quickly if we can see. Okay, I think it's working, the elevator. Do I have a better viewpoint for that one? I just want to see if the trim is working. I've had some issues because you have to set it separately. So I just want to see that it's working. It's a bit hard to fly this airplane if you don't get the trim. And there we can see it goes down, goes up. Good. So we have the trim working. That's great news actually. Yeah, we can see here the guy putting on the luggage, and same here. And actually I think I found a nice picture of, probably not this Tupolev, but one of them at Stockholm. Let me just have a look here at the picture. This is another version, the 85103, and this is actually way back. This is back in 78, right? So I think what we're seeing there is probably the DC-9 or even the back 111. Let me see if I have any other ones. Oh wait, actually there was one, there was an accident. Look at this one, 78. That didn't end up going too well. So yeah, that's a very kind of interesting fact. Do we have any other pictures of the Tupolev at Stockholm Arlanda? I don't think so. No nice pictures at least. Potentially we have this one. What's this? No, this is Warszawa. But it's pretty cool. It's the newer livery, right, of the Tupolev 154. But yeah, we're basically ready for engine start, which we can't of course do just yet, because we need to do the pushback. You can see the passengers board, and we shouldn't have too many left that needs to get on board. We can though think a bit about our flight plan. So I'm gonna show you our show you if we have any icing. It looks pretty clear. This is also looking pretty okay. Headwind, right? So maybe not the best, but not the worst. So average wind of 350 at 43. Pax 173. I think that's about the full amount, right? I think we're a bit less, because I think the settings are a bit different, so I couldn't really fill this up completely. But that's just FYI. But yeah, seems like we have the cargo done, so I guess they should have closed the doors on for us, but didn't do that this time. We still have some of the people getting into our aircraft, and I'll just show you that we have a pretty nice cabin. It's you know, not the best, but for a one-man team, this is a pretty decent job. And it's a very good looking aircraft. The more development I'm seeing into this aircraft, the more I'm feeling this is the best Russian airliner for P3D. It's between this one and the Tupolev 134, but this one, just, you know, the further love it's been getting has been great to see. So let's jump into the cockpit. Not too much else to note, or for that fact to change. I think we have, so this one should be the nav lights. You can see they're off now. And now they're on, and this should be the red beacon. You can see we don't get any beacon light. With that on, we should be getting the red. Let me just have a look. Could potentially, yeah, that's the red one. Let me see if this one gives anything. Don't remember automatically what those light switches on, unfortunately. Let me have a look. I think I have. So that's threshold. So this is the logo light. So for that, panel lights. So yeah, some interesting. I'm not sure which that one is, but yeah, very interesting nevertheless. And let's see, we still have people boarding. What's Pack X showing? Still boarding. I'm gonna have a quick look so we can. I'll write down on my little notepad here for the flight. I'm gonna show you it. So we'll first be flying to this VR, and this is a frequency of 11300. It's a high, so that's good. And then we'll be flying pretty long, so I'm pretty sure we're not going to be picking up the VR directly. But this one, 11525, also a high one. So we should pick it up. And then we're flying to the Arlanda one, also a high one, 1160. So that's good to note. Let me just check quickly. Pilot to ADC. What are we going to be tracking? 94 is the first one. 18 course is the second one. And we're going to be tracking a 32-degree course for the third one, which we'll probably get, if everything works correct, we'll get vectored. So let's see. Yeah, we can see there's some flights going in around here already, and we can see some of the boats, right? Doesn't really say what boats some of these are. We can see here AI, Aphrodite, etc. Things to also note, or which we can already note with our flight plan, is of course the weather at our destination. So Kastrup will have a QNH of 1025, while at ESSA we're looking at a QNH of 1024. In terms of the weather, it should be fine. Doesn't seem like there's any. We have a bit of a broken layer, 33,000 here in Denmark. In terms of our alternate, we have Örebro, which also looks good. 1025 for Örebro airport, which I don't think I have. I don't think I have that actually in the sim, but I'm hoping to. I think that I found a version for that I'm gonna install at some point. Yeah, because there's actually a nice one by MBL Design, who's made a version for FSX that, you know, it's not the prettiest one, right? But it's very good for freeware kind of FSX standard. At least I would say that. So that's something I need to install. It looks like we have all the people boarded, so that's happy days. We're in pre-flight. I'll do a public address. We won't hear it though, because we're outside. And I just want to close this one. We're gonna reach out to our... And actually before we reach out, we're just gonna check that we get the right ILS, etc. for the approach. We'll do departures and then approach. And we're looking at doing the ILSs. We'll want to do ARL, we'll do the vectors. We'll load that one. We'll activate it. So let's see how they vector us in. Hopefully it will work fine. It worked pretty well. I did a test flight with the MD-11, had some VNAV issues though, so I decided not to upload that one. Felt like I wanna get a proper flight before I do a video or upload a video with the TFDI MD-11, but it seemed to have vectored in pretty nicely. So I'm hoping we get the same luck this time. And we can connect to the sim. We have Aeroflot set already. We're not a heavy, so I think I've been able to update that. But let's see. Famous last words, of course. Recording is still going good. We're taking off from runway 22 left.
950 local winds
So
are
this one,
166 at 6
so
knots.
we'll be taxiing
Visibility
from
6
here
miles. 3,900
and
broken.
then take off
Temperature
there.
8, dew point 6. Current QNH is 1025. Arriving and departing runway 22 right, 22 left.
1025, and I like that you can change it.
Castrop Airport information Alpha. 950 local winds are 166 at 6 knots. Visibility 6 miles. 3,900 broken.
Let's see, actually, maybe
Temperature
that's
8,
something you
dew
can
point
change
6.
when you have
Current QNH
put on
is
all the systems,
1025.
actually. So
Arriving
let's
and
wait.
departing runway 22 right, 22 left.
We can switch to the
Castrop
ground. Let's get clearance. Aeroflot 4003, ready to copy, IFR clearance. Let's see if we had any luck.
Aeroflot
They want us to fly a
4003 is
departure.
cleared to Echo Sierra Sierra Alpha, fly the sign 2 Foxtrot departure, then as filed. Expect departure runway 22 left. Climb to flight level 060 via the departure. Expect higher clearances 2 minutes after departure. Castrop departure on 120.25.
I mean, technically some of these we can
Squawk
fly,
3321.
right? Well, let me see.
Aeroflot 4003 is cleared to Echo Sierra Sierra Alpha, fly the sign 2 Foxtrot departure, then is filed. Climb to flight level 060 via the departure. Expect higher clearances 2 minutes after departure. Castrop departure on 120.25. Squawk 3321.
I don't think we can fly this. This seems to be waypoint
Aeroflot
based.
4003, read back, correct QNH is 1025.
But we're basically turning
contact
left.
Castrop apron ground on 121.9er.
So it
When
should
ready
be
for pushback, good day.
should be okay.
QNH is
Let's see.
1025 ground on 121.9.
But yeah, this is what we're supposed to be flying according to them. And according to our flight plan, we are supposed to be going directly to soup, so I'm not 100% happy about that. Can I unload the SID? I can't force departure, so unload. Okay, let's see if we... I mean, technically we'll be kind of flying this anyway, so let's just try to make a big kind of... before we get to the soup one. You know, that technically doesn't make any sense, but... let's see. In terms of our squawk... oh, let's see. 3321. And I think our squawk is up here somewhere. Not 100% certain though. Gonna have a look though. Let's see. 3321. I'm just gonna put that info in so we have it. And let's see if we can get it right. Potential, of course, we didn't have any kind of machinery to do the squawk, but I feel like that's not possible. There must be something and I'm just missing it. Could potentially be this one, right? But oh well, let's see. And okay, I think we're kind of ready to get pushed back. Let me try to find a nice viewpoint for the pushback. We can disconnect the jetway. Aeroflot 4003 ready for pushback.
Aeroflot 4003 pushback approved.
We'll ask for a pushback
approved,
clearance.
Aeroflot 4003.
Just the details with this airport, it really looks good. And I mean, it wasn't too long ago, just a couple of months since I was at this airport, and this is very on spot, even though it's an old. No ice warning.
Please stand by for engine start until push completed.
Yeah, at least I didn't remember seeing any ice warnings. Okay, so we're soon gonna get the engine start go ahead. The things we need to put on are these. And we can start the second engine first, so let's be prepared for that.
Hello, Captain. We are ready for pushback.
Did I have any nice viewpoints? Some of these were a bit... This one is a bit boring, so maybe we can update this one. Have something more kind of in the front. If it's possible to find like a nice...
Check completed. Bypass pin inserted.
Maybe one that's a bit higher up. It's really hard to find like a good one that doesn't somehow skew the... Yeah, because it's a bit weirdly bended. What we can do though is... Now, okay, I'm gonna skip that. We can't find a really good one, unfortunately.
Locking gear.
Okay, we're locking gear. And let's see specifications for this one. What was the engines? Was it the Kuznetsov NK8 2U? And then the M version, that's the Solovyev with a bit more thrust. So we're flying the OG version. Okay, and we want to do, of course, nose right, because otherwise we are gonna be turning basically inside towards the airport. And let's just see, are we clear on all sides? Looks pretty clear. So let's release parking brakes.
Commencing push. Due to icing conditions, please stand by for engine start.
And we are not gonna listen to their garbage about icing conditions. So we're gonna start the second engine. You can see the values go up here.
Ladies and gentlemen, please direct your attention to the screen for an important safety demonstration. Thank you for flying with us.
Maybe this was the second engine actually. So it's starting. Can't really hear that much here at the front. Let me see, do we want... No, we can keep that. So there we go. The second one is started. Let's do the third one. Okay, let's see.
Set parking brakes.
So that should be the third one. You can set parking brakes. Or maybe this was the third one. Yeah, that was the third one. Sorry, it's just the smoke came from kind of the same general direction. Since we are pretty happy, we can call for a good engine start. Not the most Russian sounding voice, but yeah, we'll make do. You can see the nose coming down. Okay, there we go. And we can start the last engine, numero uno. And it's starting. Let's see if we have any good viewpoint. Here we go. There we go, look at that. An absolutely astonishingly beautiful engine. These are the low bypass ones, right? So yeah, very well done by this one-man team of Simuniqlab. This is a very historical, kind of beautiful aircraft. When, let's say, when the Soviets could still kind of challenge somewhat in aircraft technology, and then they kind of never got into the high bypass engine. Or maybe they did actually with the later, with some of the IL versions, or for example the Tupolev Tu-154, but at least not during these times. They were kind of advanced, I would say. Okay, so there we go. We have it started. I don't think we need to keep that one there. We can keep it like that. So we want to do the generators. So the third one. The second one. And the first one. This is looking good. We can put that to the middle level. We can switch off the bleed air. So I just want to get the light on there. And then what we want to do, let me switch off bleed air and press the stop button to get the APU shut down. What we thereafter want to do, we want to check that these are set up correctly, which they do look to be. And let me just check here if we're
1676, taxi on Foxtrot and inner to Alpha 2. Foxtrot inner to Alpha 2, Europe 1676.
And let's see if we can get this one working. These are correctly set. Yeah, these looks to be correctly set. Actually, this one should maybe be down. Let's get this one back up. Hydraulic. Let's see if we can get this one. For some reason I sometimes just can't get it.
We're prepared for takeoff.
We can shut those. There we go. That was the thing. And now we're getting these. The values look good. So this is for the pressurization, if I am not totally mistaken. Good. What we need to do, we can close that. And we can go to the fun part, the overhead panel. We have more switches to move. Let's just ask Aeroflot 4003, ready to taxi. And let's see, a lot of these are on already. So yeah, they are on. This one shouldn't be on actually. I'm hoping that's not gonna mess with it, but let's see. We want to turn on all of these switches. We want to turn on the heating switches, they're already on.
4003 runway 22 left, taxi via Mike, Yankee,
Com and
Romeo,
com,
Victor
that's
1,
correct.
hold short runway 22 left.
Runway 22 left, taxi via Mike, Yankee,
155.
Romeo, Victor 1, hold short runway 22 left, Aeroflot 4003.
Let me see if I can get this. I don't think this one has worked, at least I haven't seen any indication that it's working. Basically I can't get it 100% aligned, unfortunately. But could be of course that let's actually try by maybe putting this one on the right starting position, right? What are we facing? We're facing around 20, right? So maybe that will help us a bit. 20, 20, 20. Because it would be good if we could get this working, right? Because otherwise this is just gonna keep moving like this and we won't have any help of, you know, finding the VOR or similar. But yeah, you're somehow supposed to do that. It's probably me just not doing it correct.
Taxi on Echo, hold short runway 28. Taxi on Echo, hold short runway 28, Tiger 630.
Yeah, no luck, unfortunately. What we want to do as the second step, and actually I just want to do one thing, because I feel like we're not gonna have things working as they should unless we do this in the right. So I'm gonna actually turn all of these off. Let me just see if I can get the overhead panel. Oh, maybe we can't. We have to do it this way. Because I just noticed sometimes the autopilot won't work. So well, my suggestion is always go cold and dark. I don't know why that's not my default one. It doesn't take long. You can do it with the shift 1, I think, and then you do cold and dark. We're not gonna do it this time around. I'm just gonna turn this off and do it in the appropriate. Yeah, maybe we can just start with everything off. So we get this done somehow similar to how it would have been done with the cold and dark start. Hopefully that will also increase the chances of not having any problems. Could be that this is just me being extra cautious, right? But I'd rather be extra cautious than not cautious enough. So those should be done. Then what we should do is these booster switches. And then I think we can already do this one, so the gyro thing. So let's see how that goes. You can see it here, stabilizing.
Taxi on Mike and Echo, hold short of runway 28.
I think after we have done that one, we can actually flip on that one. Let me just check if there's something we can. Put on all these autopilot switches. And the preparation switch. Yeah, that's looking good. And basically it's looking pretty good. Let's see if the throttles are working. They are working. And we have the autopilot, so that's good. And we know we're going to turn to 94 degrees. So we can just do a quick check here just to make sure we have the heading. So let's say we're turning to 94 degrees. And that would be this one, right? So 94 degrees, something like that, right? We could also do this one to 94 degrees. And while we wait, we can also put in the right nav. So 1300. Let's put that in. I do think we have that nav source, so I'm wondering if it's functioning or not. I do hope it is. Well, let me double check. Okay, we have to do it the brutal way, the manual way. And taxi second left and then hard left again, India 05. 94. Okay, and let's see. I'm gonna put both of these to the right one. See if we're getting any signal. Nine four. Or maybe you can switch between two options. Let's see, and do these do anything? No. I think that should be it basically. We can then go for the taxi lights. So if I'm not mistaken, it's the down ones, and then these ones are the, so we get a bit of or the extension. We wanna do this one for takeoff and a landing setting. And then let's see if we can. Okay, so now we have the annoying problem of not seeing the light on this one, which is a bit frustrating. It's gonna make it a bit harder to know what setting we're flying. We can see here, right, VOR, so that's gonna help a bit. But let's just keep that in mind, that we won't see the light. It sometimes bugs out, I think, if you don't do it in the right proper sequence. So just keep that in mind. I'm gonna trim a bit down, and then other than that I think we're ready. If we want, we have the wiper. I think we can also close the window now. I mean, technically if we're doing the pressurization, right, we should have closed the window already. And here it's all looking correct. Flaps should go down one level. I think that's for the nose wheel steering. No, nose wheel steering, yeah. Okay, so we can release the parking brakes. You can see we're starting to roll down here. Let's check our taxi route. Looks pretty reasonable. and we can add a bit more thrust. And it's looking good. Let's see if we have a somewhat working. It's a bit hard. We can taxi a bit with the rudders, but not to the best extent, right? So if you want to taxi it the best way, just grab that one. It's not the best taxiing plane, but it's pretty decent. Okay, let's turn here. It feels maybe a bit too fast. That's my main gripe with it. But yeah, we are on our way to runway 22 left. Gonna leave Copenhagen behind us. We're going to go to Arlanda. There is one of the ATRs, which I think I mentioned very early on this video. A nice 787. But yeah, we're going to Arlanda. That's our first leg, and then if we would have done the second leg, we would go to Moscow. We're maybe going a bit fast, so let's try to brake a bit. And we're gonna be turning, not yet, but pretty soon to the left. So here. But yeah, this is a very beautiful aircraft. Not gonna lie. Very good looking one. Look at those swept wings, right? You can really see it from above. You can see the slats being deployed. Interesting though, there only seems to be one slat. You would think there would be more. Or I guess technically these seems to be a bit forward deployed. And I guess this must be the flaps then, right? And look at this, here we have some very beautiful. Let me see if these have been updated, or are these still... Oh, they don't say if it's Sky Team or if it's Star Alliance. We have the nice Norwegian and one of the older looking Scandinavian. I really like this livery. I like the new one as well. It's very modern, but it's more nostalgic. Same with the Finnair. Well, not that new anymore. It's pretty good looking, of course, more clean, but the old one has some nostalgia value. Okay, let's see. Now this one seems to be updated by itself, so I'm not really sure why that one is as it is, but oh well. I guess it is what it is. Can't do too much about it. But let's see. Okay, and we can do the trim. We can see it here, right? Took me a long time to figure that one out. That you can actually see the trim, so you have some sort of reference point. We also have, of course, the auto throttles, which weren't that commonly used, but we'll probably use them at some point, right? We don't want to overspeed about 600 kilometers per hour, if I'm not mistaken, usually around
Tower
that.
on 118.1 Aeroflot 4003.
So let's be a bit cautious when we're ascending. Aeroflot 4003 ready for takeoff.
Aeroflot 4003 winds are 166 at 6 knots. Runway 22 left cleared for takeoff squawk 3321. Maintain runway heading until above 1,000 feet, then turn left to heading 065 to intercept course.
So turn left
runway
to
22
0.
left cleared for takeoff squawking 3321. Maintain runway heading until above 1,000 feet, then left to 065 Aeroflot 4003.
That should be the heading one, right? Or no, this is the heading one, right? God, too dumb to remember, to be honest. Let me check actually what my... So that's NVU, that's course. So that must be heading. Okay, I think I have it figured out. This is approach and this is glide slope. So let's try to remember those. So let's get lined up on the runway. I don't think we have any incoming airlines, so that's good news. In terms of takeoff, etc., we don't seem to have any sort of calculation for that, so that's good to remember. But I think we might have one or something similar to that included in the flight plan. So let me just have a quick look if we got any information on that. Doesn't hurt, right? But nope, no such luck. Okay, so let's do that one. We got the red light off. Okay, and let's get ready. So we want to climb and then turn left to 065. So above 1,000 feet. And what's that in meters? That's the billion-dollar question. But I think this is in feet, so hopefully we can compare these. But let's see. And there we have one of the SAS moving in the background. Okay, so let's throttle up. I think it's around 97 you want to do for the takeoff, and around 93 for the, or maybe that's the Tupolev 134. Sometimes forget. Okay, we can release. Wish us good luck. Okay, we're gonna. I don't know where the yoke goes. I've probably hidden it, but yeah, it doesn't really matter. It would be nice to see it apart instead of the hole in the ground. Okay, let's see. Yeah, we're going. Is that about? I think it's around 250. That's like V1 and takeoff. Oh, so let's get up. And I'm gonna slowly bring the nose up. And we have oh, almost a bit too steep, but we're climbing. We did forget to go into the landing lights, so I'm gonna put that on so we're ready. Okay, so this seems to be in the feet, so that's good at least. Okay, still climbing. They wanted to turn left to go to 065. We're now at 1,000, so we can turn left. We got climbing clearances to 6,000 feet.
Aeroflot 4003 climb.
We
and
can go to
maintain
flap
flight
0.
130 contact Castrop departure on 124.97.
Okay, let's see, and that killed a bit of our climbing, and we don't want to overspeed, right? And I'm gonna throttle down quite a bit.
Departure Aeroflot 4003 climbing to flight level 130.
065 is technically what we want to go to. We're kind of off, right, with the track they want us to follow, right? But oh well. We'll just try to turn. Do we have any good views? This one was pretty nice. Look at that, very beautiful. Okay, we're still turning. We're flying quite a bit too fast. I'm gonna throttle down to around 88, I think.
Control on
We're gonna climb.
Aeroflot 4003.
And we haven't actually gotten any flight level 130. Okay, we did get higher climb clearances, so that's
Control
at least
Aeroflot
good.
4003 climbing to flight level 130.
Okay, we're still turning,
Aeroflot 4003, good afternoon.
Seems like we actually got away from having to follow the star by me forcing the flight plan, so that's good. Let's see, we're still heading towards 065. So hopefully soon we might actually be on the right track of the
Aeroflot
course.
4003, contact Malmo control on
We're still
11.0.
overspeeding.
Control on
Then we
118.0
throttle down.
Aeroflot
We don't want to
4003.
overspeed. That's not gonna end well.
Aeroflot
I'm gonna
400.
climb. We have to watch this
climb
AOA
and
indicator,
maintain
right?
flight level 130.
Climb and maintain flight level 130 Aeroflot 4003. Control Aeroflot 4003 climbing to flight level 130.
Aeroflot 4003, good afternoon. Aeroflot 4003, climb and maintain flight level 210.
Climb and maintain flight level 210 Aeroflot 4003.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have now passed 10,000 feet, so you may turn on
Why
all
are
your
these
portable
not,
electronic devices. This is also a reminder to please keep your seatbelt fastened throughout the duration of the flight. And do
Yeah, I
not
don't
form a
know
line near
actually,
the
that's
platform.
weird. Okay, let's see. 210. So we should follow, because we're really not flying, we're actually missing the, maybe that's just how it looks, the VR. So we want to go to the right. Because this is not aligned. How the hell did I mess this up? This is the one we're actually tracking. How can we not be tracking properly with this one? God, that's gonna make this difficult to fly. Maybe I managed to get it wrong. Okay, let's see. We're gonna have to turn a bit. And we are now descending by mistake, which we don't want to do. We want to keep climbing. We can change this to flight. We're no longer in the takeoff mode. Looking pretty good otherwise outside. Apart from that, we messed up a bit with our this, and I need to have a look at that. Why is this one thinking we're tracking something else? How did I manage to mess that up? Okay, let's see. We have VR set. We can do those. Okay, and let's see if we can get this one. But yeah, I have no clue why this one is totally off. Okay, let's see. At least it's following it correctly, even though it's saying that we're flying differently. Let's add a bit of thrust. So we're quite low on it. Let's see if we can add our ascent rate. We need to add a bit more thrust. But at least we're following it correctly. At least that's how it looks now. But yeah, I'm wondering if I messed it up by this alignment, because I've never seen 112. Now this seems to be more aligned, so that's good. Maybe it was a source thing. Okay, let's see. Maybe that was the mistake I did. Okay, but we're climbing now, it's looking good. We're above 10,000 feet. We can turn off these lights, some mistakes. That could have been worse. We're at least flying, still looking pretty nice outside. And we're soon about to make our turn on a heading of 018. So let's actually change to heading mode. So we're now flying heading mode. I wanna go to 018. I think it should be enough to change this one to 1525. It's probably not gonna show, but we should start turning now to 018. Can we see this one working? We can actually, so it is picking it up, it seems. So let's have a look actually if I just quickly let me go back though. I do want us to. Do we have the right? Let me do this one as well, just to make sure we're not 018 11525, just so we are not picking up the wrong. Oh, sorry, we are not flying
Aeroflot
correctly.
4003, you are off course. Turn left to heading 355 to return to course.
Yeah, we're trying to turn.
Heading 355 Aeroflot
Turn
4003.
But not the easiest. And this one must be the hydraulic one. So let's get that one. Don't want to see no red lights, for better or worse. Okay, let's do another check here with the VOR one.
Alpine 19 Romeo Quebec identified procedure to Brussels.
Okay, it doesn't seem like we are really following that as we should. So I'm gonna keep the turn. The risk is that there's something else close by, right? Okay, let's see. We wanna turn down a bit our vertical speed. We're flying a lot now with the instruments, so unfortunately we're missing some of these. Let me see, actually, we wanna get... I kinda like the... we got a pretty good thumbnail, I think. But of course this would be some beautiful pictures. I'm gonna save the one I want for thumbnail in paint.net, then I can take.
Climb and maintain flight level 290 Aeroflot 4003.
So we have some memories of this flight. Hopefully it does go better than it has seemed thus far. Because I think the VRs are pointing kind of correctly. Okay, let's see now. Are we descending less, or are we still... I think we really want to pitch down. Okay, now we're getting some of that pitch down effect. Let's have a look again shortly on how this is going. It just feels like we're still not really flying it correctly. I'm gonna turn a bit less, because I think we can follow this one. I mean, technically this could be a DME only, so let's keep that in mind when we're flying. We can aim for that one, but we gotta be a bit cautious. Okay, 290 was our new... Okay, let's see if we trim down. I would want to go with the... if you can add a bit of speed, maybe a bit over 5. Then I'm gonna increase the speed just a tiny bit. Still looking pretty good. Let's see, I've increased almost above 500. Let's see. Can we close that one? And I can't do that yet. And we can turn a bit so we don't go too far. We want to follow towards the VR at least. Okay, we are above 500 now, so that's good. And yeah, here we also have the weather radar. I think there should be different modes. Not sure how good this one is, but it does seem to at least simulate something, right? Even though it might not be the
Aeroflot
actual.
4003 resume navigation.
Okay, so if they're saying resume navigation, we're gonna try to keep it on 18. I'm quickly just gonna switch. Yeah, it still doesn't seem like we are, so this could be a DME VR, so basically we'll be able to follow it, but we won't. I'm gonna turn a bit more, just so we can get this one. So we're kind of following it correctly. Okay, let's see, I think that should be good. So now we have the auto throttle on. So that should help a bit control this aircraft. I'm just gonna quickly start Discord. Let's see. Gonna move it to my other screen.
Lufthansa 465, actually Lufthansa 310. Lufthansa 465, that's 310, these are the 210.
Okay, let's let's jump into the cockpit. We're at 26, we want to go up to 33, right? Feels like we're not really... Because now it's pointing at... I mean, not technically, maybe not wrong. Let me just once again try. Still not getting that. It's a bit too far. Let's see, now it's around 20. Now it's around 18 actually. So let's see if we can turn a bit more. So we're basically find this like an ADF.
And maintain flight level.
And here we can see the Mach speed, we're over 7 or 0.7. We have about 40 minutes of flying left to do. What's the... Well, we have used quite a bit of the fuel, almost 5,000 tons. So let's be a bit cautious. Hopefully it should be fine, but you know, good to keep that in mind. The fans don't work, so that's a bit of a bummer with this aircraft, but apart from that, it's a very well functioning aircraft. Since we do have some extra time, we can start thinking about the approach already. We know the weather is gonna be fine, so I'm just gonna bring up the approach plates. And I think actually just to touch upon it, why this one wasn't aligning was I probably changed the source up here on this one. I haven't really figured out that this one connects with everything, so that's something to keep in mind. aka I might not be doing it completely correctly in that regard. We are landing at 19 right, so I'm unfortunately we have to go like north of the airport and then come back down. At least 19 right is one of the closer runways. In terms of our approach, let's do 275 as the question is that what is 275? That's 83 meters. So we can put that as the minimums. Still climbing. Let's make sure we don't overspeed. We have not much now until we are at our altitude, and I think it's either V or H for holding the altitude, but let's see. And what else? It looks like we're now kind of following because the VOR needle hasn't changed too much. Maybe we're still a bit off, a bit more to the left. If we turn a bit more, maybe. I'm guessing there's some wind component since it's coming a bit from the north. But you would think we would then be pushed to the right of it and not to the left. But let's see. But yeah, generally it's looking pretty good. Oh, now we're at 33. God damn it. Sorry, not V. We want to do the H one, right? No, maybe it is V actually. No. Let me see. I'll pitch down a bit.
Aeroflot 4003 descend and maintain flight level 330.
330.
Descend and maintain flight level 330 Aeroflot 4003.
Which one was it? Was it H that was the holding? Let's try the H one. Could be that. Might potentially just be me missing. Okay, we want to do that one. Okay, let's see if this will... Maybe it was the V1. Can we though still do auto throttle? Or is that gonna be an issue when we're not climbing? I'm gonna start throttle down. We are close to overspeeding. Let me just have a quick look here. Yeah, we're still overspeeding. I think H is the one we want to be at. Yeah, because that's holding. So let's trim up a bit. So we get to 33. Sorry, me forgetting which one does what. I could have, of course, had a look at. So pitch. But this is arrest. There we go, H. Hopefully we can maintain this one. Let's see if we can get this on. Yes, now we have auto throttle and we're maintaining pitch. Good. We should be fine, but I can't promise that, of course. But yeah, still... Still progressing towards our target of Arlanda. Anything else we need to keep in mind with this aircraft? Of course, the fuel situation. The question I'm mainly worried about is tanks, and if you have to do any sort of, in order not to have flame outs. But thus far it's looking pretty fine. Well, one thing we never did was actually shut down the APU correctly. There we go. If that did have any fuel effects. I wouldn't know, but hopefully it didn't. Here we can also put in the date, right, and the flight numbers. That's good to keep in mind. I think pressurization, etc. is looking good. I wonder if you could switch this one to something meaningful instead. Maybe something to write to the developer. I guess this is a 4-man cockpit. Would this guy be doing something potentially? But okay, we're maintaining altitude. It's looking pretty good. We're on our path. We still don't have to fly towards the latest or the last VOR, which is the 116, aka the Arlanda VOR. But let's see. Let's actually see if we have any Tupolev 154 at Copenhagen airport. If we have any pictures, that would be nice. We have some holiday ones, Kish Air. Maybe if we Google for Aeroflot, we can find some old beauties. Seems to not be. There isn't really that many pictures online. I was certain there would be more. What about plane spotters? They have a pretty good view, but mainly not, of course, in either Copenhagen or Sweden, for that matter of fact. Actually, I wonder what is this flight director following, and could you tweak that to any extent? So is this choosing between 1 and 2, or is this choosing between, maybe it's the source? And what's that one? That's the landing one, right? So I'm gonna switch that. Okay, let's see, we're facing some turbulence now. Could be an autopilot bug as well. That's something to keep in mind. But yeah, look at this. This is really P3D at its best. You have a pretty nice 2D cloud layer. It doesn't look too unrealistic at all, actually. It looks pretty damn good. But of course not as nice as Microsoft Flight Sim. Let's not kid ourselves, but reasonable. I actually found one of a Tupolev 124 at Arlanda from 1966. Some of the crazy things with some of these old pictures is that you realize a lot of these people are dead, and not to be like sad or kind of like this fake nostalgia, but more in terms of like, you know, crazy how time moves forward and how things change basically. And there's nothing one can do against that.
Lufthansa 67 Papa identified. Lufthansa 350 report your request. Lufthansa 67 Papa, we climb flight level 350 and yeah, we'd like to stay at 35. Roger.
Okay, let's see.
Papa 4 Golf Victor Victor, hello, we are 4 Golf Victor identified.
Okay, let's see. Anything else we need to think about already? What about descent? That sort of planning. We still have about PowerTDC saying 200 nautical miles. I wouldn't know how long we have here because we don't. No, sorry, we do have the kilometer. We have the DME here, so that's gonna help us quite a bit. So 129 kilometers, and our top of descent was kind of directly at the next VR. So in 127 we're gonna start descending, barring any unforeseen consequences.
135980, Golf Sierra Sierra, good day. CZ 54 Lima Alpha, maintaining flight level 380. Easy 54 Lima Alpha, identify.
Reading some paper about the Premier League, who's done good or who's done bad. Didn't really know that Manchester United and Tottenham had such awful seasons.
With 78 November, code 127555. Bye-bye. 27555 with 78 November. Thank you, bye.
Yeah, crazy. Leicester's being demoted, Southampton. A crazy season. How's the outside looking? We get a nice viewpoint. I really like this one. You know, you see kind of the beauty of the wing. There's even wing flex, which is crazy. That's a big plus on the developer. And then of course you can see kind of how large the Earth is. You get kind of the best of the clouds. I mean, it almost looks like volumetric clouds here with the 2D clouds. Flying above of Sweden. And we're actually, I think that's Jönköping. So I've multiple times, I can't even count how many times I've drove my car up here with the highway and then turning inlands towards Stockholm. Or if I've been going down, I've gone here and then towards Gothenburg. Well, let's see how much left do we have. 91. Let's write down some of this other information. I'm gonna just check if we have the charts. Maybe we can have one browser open on the side. So we're talking of a localizer 110.7. Nothing weird with that, but then a 184 glide path. We can do that, I think. Shouldn't be an issue. Let me see, our missed approach is climb straight ahead to 1500 radar vectoring for new approach. That should be fine. If I'm not mistaken, the landing speed is around 250 to 300 knots, somewhere around there we want to maintain. We don't want to use the auto throttle on the landing. So something to keep in mind. And here we have those beautiful engines in action. Oh, I'm getting that shake. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Goddamn engines. That wake turbulence, I guess. Let's go inside here and check a bit. Yeah, I must give him some credit. Hell, even a very nice cockpit for the exterior model. Not always you see such attention to detail. But yeah, it is a beauty. So I'll happily sing the praises of the Simuniqlab.
Beauty 451, hold 132.080, bye-bye.
Do we have any other nice views? Oh, there's plenty of nice ones. It's interesting a bit as well, because the engines are a bit
Aeroflot
facing outwards, right?
4003,
The
expect
side
ILS
ones.
approach
Maybe that's
to
just...
runway 19 right at our
No, but they
landing
are a
airport,
bit,
maintain
right?
flight level 330.
Very interesting how, you know, the engineers come up with
Expect
those
the
solutions.
ILS approach to runway 19 right, maintain flight level 330 Aeroflot 4003.
What did they say? Maintain flight level 330. Okay, good. So nothing to change yet. But since we're not flying the VR, we can already change to the right VR, which is gonna be flying to 3-2 in terms of the course. So we are following relatively nicely. Actually, before we do that, maybe we've actually gone a bit too far to the right. Or maybe we can be a bit cautious. But then we want to switch this one to 160. Let's do it on both of them just to play it safe. I think it's only the first one we actually need to do it. So that should be fine. But it doesn't hurt, right? And we have captured it, and we can see it here. VR, it's picking it up. And look at that, this one is working. Okay, that's great actually. I've never never been able to get this to work before, so I am not complaining. The only problem is though, of course, that this one is not really following the course we're on. We're at like 4-2, something like that. 4-2, something like that, right? Oh no, we're going 3-5. 4. I don't know, there's some discrepancies. Mainly probably due to how I set it up. Oh well. But yeah, it's been flying pretty well with the auto trolls, etc. So that's nice to see. Okay, let's see. What's the weather update? Can we maybe get that just to make sure we're not
Aeroflot
by mistake getting into...
descend and maintain flight level
Looks pretty good. Okay, 250.
Descend and maintain flight level 250 Aeroflot 4003.
And let's see if this will be enough to get the descent going. Oh wait, it's not that one. Yeah, we can do that. And I'm gonna throttle down a bit. And we are descending. And this is in 100 meters, right? So we don't have to go as crazy. So it's about 1/3, right, of the feet. So 5 is about 1,500 feet, right? So we can go a bit above, but nothing crazy. And we were supposed to descend now to 2,500, no sorry, 25,000. And let's see, we wanna turn pretty shortly. I'm just quickly gonna check how long we're talking about in terms of the DME. So we're about 13. So we can very shortly start turning. So let's do it while when we're at 195, we'll start turning a bit to the right so we can get on the right Or I mean, technically we should have the right course set in. 0, 3, 2. So let's see actually if we already switch, if this is a, maybe this is a DME type again. That could be the case. So in that case we might want to turn, but not too abruptly, but a bit at least. Because we're almost around that considering this one, so we just have to turn a bit. And we are descending, albeit a bit slowly, I would say. We still have around 18 minutes of flying, according to pilot TDC, and 185 kilometers. So still some ground to cover. But yeah, it's gonna be a lovely day to land. Hopefully the landing goes well. Was a while since I did this or did a landing with this beautiful plane. So let's see. And we are descending a bit faster now. I think almost around 2000 feet per minute, give or take. And looks like what's it called? Microsoft Flight Sim got its first Boeing long hauler, the Horizon Sim 787. So that's cool to see. I wonder if reshade is any good for P3D. I'm gonna guess it's quite similar to the Envy shader that I already have. There's a lot of planes also on sale. That's why I just mentioned, or not planes, but airports. That's why I got thinking of reshade, because that's also on sale now. Okay, we're descending around 27,000. Maybe we want to send a bit quicker. Okay, the risk is the speed, so let's throttle down quite a bit. I think we don't want to go slower than 70% if I'm not mistaken. But we can throttle down a bit. Or maybe that's the Tupolev 134, I always forget between those. Okay.
Go ahead. You can proceed to Delta Fox.
God, getting tired. It's always quite a bit of a, not a struggle, but it's more hectic to fly these Russian planes, generally speaking.
Aeroflot
It's a lot of fun, but more hectic.
descend and maintain flight level 170.
There's still some buttons you can't
Descend and
move, but I'm
maintain
hoping
flight
this
level
will
170 Aeroflot 4003.
be implemented going forward. And what was the new descent? 170. So that's good. We're descending pretty fast now. Which we do need to do, right? We are We are closing in quite rapidly on Stockholm, with only about 135 kilometers to go. We're 24,000, so getting down slowly and steadily. Let's check some information about the Tupolev 154 in terms of let me see, it was the standard domestic route airline of Russia and former Soviet states until the mid-2000. And it's a limited service. I'm gonna guess Air Koryo is the last passenger operator, yeah. I do have a livery for that, but I don't really have any Air Koryo airports or photoreal to fly. It's used by Russian military, it seems. I guess troop transports and similar, potentially Ukraine, the invasion of Ukraine, those sort of areas. And let's see. Anything else on the 154 that's interesting to mention? This is still on the standard. Can we now change this ourselves? Oh, now we can. Okay, that's cool. Cruising speed of around 850 kilometers per hour. Range of 5,280 kilometers. Talking about range, what's the fuel situation? We don't have a lot of fuel. We've almost used half of our fuel. We don't have a lot left to travel either, so should hopefully be fine. So this one was manufactured between 68 and 97. Last aircraft delivered in 2013. That's crazy. There was a Tupolev 155, but that one was never really used for anything. So what did they then go forward with? Was that the 214?
Aeroflot 4003 descend and maintain flight level
Oh, the Illusion 62. This is a beauty. There's a pretty okay version for P3D as well, but not as good. It's very pretty in the cabin, but not all of the kind of systems, etc. I need to do a flight with that one as well. It does deserve to do a flight because it has an actually working kind of Russian INS, something to that extent. Okay, and we got further descent clearances to 090, so that's good. We want to slow down a bit, but I'm a bit afraid going down further on the throttles, but maybe we can go down a bit in terms of that, so we can get a bit slower. There was a lot of them built actually, the IL-62-300 almost, between 1963 and 95. What about the Tupolev 114, 32 built? The successor was the IL-86, which wasn't at all as successful. 106 were built. The IL-80, that was 4 built, that's more military. IL-96, 33 built, still in low rate production. That would be interesting to see in a flight sim. I think the IL-86, there's some pretty okay version for Explain 11, but I just haven't felt the need to fly that. I do have Explain 11, but just never been relevant. Specifically now with X-Plane 12, I feel like it's hard to go back. Let's see if when X-Plane 13 releases, right, will I be one of those that sticks with X-Plane 12 for a long time, but could be. Specifically if they get the nice ground scenery in X-Plane 12. Okay, let's go back to the Tupolev. So Tupolev have designed the 144, of course, and then they've done the... Oh, they've designed some interesting one, 334, for example. Look at this one. I never heard about this. This looks very cool, actually. Sucks that it was cancelled, because this would have been dope. I guess for Yak 42s, that's also in kind of limited service. 2 crew flight deck, so that's pretty cool. Okay, let's see, we're almost at 9,000 feet, so maybe we need to stop kidding around and looking at these. But this Tupolev 214 is an interesting one. Okay, only 89 built, so not really the most popular type either. It looks very much like an Airbus, like an A321, apart from the fact that the engines are the low bypass ones, right? But they can have the Rolls-Royce, actually, RB211. That's high bypass turbofan. Oh, they actually do have high bypass now. Okay, that's interesting.
Aeroflot
But maybe they aren't as efficient, right?
1024 descend and maintain 2,500 feet.
2,500
QNH is
feet.
1024 descend and maintain 2,500 feet. Aeroflot 4003.
We have begun our final descent into Stockholm. Flight attendants will be passing through the cabin to collect any trash one final time.
I think we can maybe pitch up a bit so we're not over speeding. You don't have to do it a lot, but just a tiny bit should be enough. We're below 10,000 feet as well, so let's put on the landing lights. We got the flight engineer talking. Yes, there we go. Those will create a bit of drag as well, right, since they're deployable. Otherwise it looks like we have a pretty nice weather landscape. Some clouds, cumulus, looking pretty nice. We'll have to move this to landing mode soon rather than later. We'll use the flaps. I think we can go flaps full. We need to remember the landing approach, etc., etc. So let's see how that will work. And I'm gonna quickly, just because I want to see. Yeah, look at that. So we are actually quite close to being correctly on track with the VR. So that's pretty cool. But I feel if we're doing pretty good on the track, we can actually go back to flying with the heading mode, because then we can switch already to the ILS and have that prepared. And ILS is 1117 and 184. So let's do that. 1110 7. We'll do it on both of these. 1110 7 and 184.
Etihad 9815 call 128 160. Good day.
184. Okay. And let's have a look. Looking pretty good. Some trees in the water though. So that's That's a bit of a bummer, but otherwise it looks pretty good. So this is, I guess, the Mälaren, the river, or what do you want to call it, lake, of the interior Sweden, or around Stockholm, I guess, technically. Let's pitch up a bit more. We're gonna add a bit of thrust. Nothing crazy, but I don't think we need to descend too quickly to 2500. The altimeter was 1024. So let's put that because it's 5000, right? That's the transition altitude. Okay, and let's continue descending. And continue descending a bit slower. And yeah.
Aeroflot 4003 expedite speed reduction to 250 knots.
Oh, maybe we're going a bit too fast. I'm gonna throttle down.
Aeroflot 4003.
We're not going much faster, but we're around 270 almost now. Okay, we're still descending, still looking good. We're flying close to my home now. That's nice. Can we get this down? No, we can't. So what do we need to think about now for the landing? We need to think about, yeah, we need to get the hydraulic one so we don't run into any issues with that. And then we need to think about following the vectors once we get those, hopefully soon.
Aeroflot 4003 contact Stockholm.
Okay, we're getting approach now, so hopefully we'll get the vectoring very shortly.
Approach on 126.65 Aeroflot 4003.
We can turn a bit to the right. Okay, we can
approach Aeroflot 4003 descending to 2,500 feet.
Aeroflot 4003, good afternoon.
Okay, let's see, we're almost at 0. Almost. Can we get to the holding mode? Yeah, we can. Perfect. That's gonna ease our workload quite a bit. I'm gonna throttle up. Not too much though. Let's be a bit cautious. Maybe that was a bit too much, but let's see. We don't want to go much lower than 400 kilometers per hour. Good. Any info yet from our dear approach? Nothing yet. Ah, bless myself.
4003, you are 9 nautical miles southwest of the airport. QNH is 10 to 4 cleared, direct CI-19 are then cleared for the INS approach to run.
And we're basically going, the airport is
QNH is 1024 cleared
there,
CI-19
and we're doing
the
the,
ILS approach to runway 19 right
let
at
me just
Arlanda
think
Airport,
about this.
Aeroflot
We are doing the
4003.
19 right, that's this one. So we want to do turn a bit to the right. And then we want to turn kind of to our right. Because I guess we got a clear direct.
Aeroflot 4003 expedite speed reduction to
Yeah, we want to expedite the speed reduction.
We'll go Aeroflot 4003.
We're going a bit fast. Maybe we can turn a bit more so we get a bit more parallel to the runway. What would our first officer see? So he would also see the airport there. I think it makes sense to continue like this before we turn right. Maybe we can turn even a bit more, so we have a bit of a bigger curve that we can do when we turn it for the inbound. For that kind of final approach, we'll throttle down quite a bit. Okay, are we now slowing down? Let's go to landing on this one, so that we are ready. Yeah, 7 kilometers should soon be increasing in distance. 6.8 still not decreasing, but soon enough. We can see it kind of behind us, right? So let's see what happens now. Should go up to 6.9. Yeah, there we go. We're now throttling, or not throttling down, but we're slowing down because we don't have as much thrust. And trying to think, how do you do this? Would be good if you could have them not connected, but I guess these are, or maybe they aren't connected. But I guess we can use this to kind of give us an indication of how much we need to turn. And we want to continue still for a bit. I'm gonna throttle up actually, just a tiny bit. I feel like we're going a bit slow. You can see it with our pitch. Kind of notice it quickly. The more thrust should help us alleviate that, so we don't need to pitch up as much to maintain altitude. The risk, of course, if we don't put enough thrust, we'll be chasing altitude, or chasing to maintain the altitude, and then we'll just lose more and more airspeed, right? Because we'll get more and more airflow kind of hitting the bottom of the aircraft, creating drag. Okay, let's see, throttle up. Maybe we can turn pretty soon. I'll turn a bit more outwards, and then we can start our inboard turn. Let me just check if it's 2,500 we want to be at. Yeah, 2,500 should be good. So I think we're at a pretty good speed. Maybe maintaining a bit high in terms of pitch. And I'm gonna add a bit more thrust. A bit cautious about adding too much. And I think we can start turning.
Aeroflot 400 pre-QNH is 1024 at Arlanda
start
Airport.
with this.
Arlanda Tower on 118.5.
Let's see if we're getting the
QNH
turn.
is 1024 tower on 118.5 Aeroflot 4003.
So let's give it a shot.
Tower
Let's
Aeroflot
see how this will go. We'll do 155.
Runway 19er right.
Aeroflot 4003, good afternoon. Continue
We can't
ILS
really
to runway
arm,
19er
right?
right call when established on final.
Continue ILS runway 19er right will call when established on final.
So
Aeroflot
this should be
4003.
approach, glide slope, and landing. So I guess technically we can put that on, right? So that should give us the landing one. Then we want to do 184 actually. So yeah, okay, so we do get the landing. This will help quite a bit. Okay, we are speeding up a bit, so I'm gonna throttle down. I do want to turn a bit more, I think. Not too crazy though. So we have the landing mode on. Question is, are we turning fast enough or too slow? Hopefully it should be fine. But we're going a bit fast. I'm a bit worried. Yeah. Okay, let's see if we go to that mode and the glide slope. Okay, let's see. Can we capture the localizer? That's the runway, right? So it might be a bit difficult. should hopefully be fine. Let's see if we can get... I'm gonna start pitching down the aircraft. Okay, let's see. Okay, 3 green. I'll add a bit of thrust. And we're actually pitching up now for some godforsaken reason. Just don't get it sometimes. I'm gonna go to manual, because that will help. We can increase the... So let's see. We're on the glide slope. But yeah, we're kind of a bit off on the localizer. So we're basically capturing the glide slope before the localizer. Aeroflot 4003 established on final. I was going to say ready for landing.
Aeroflot 4003 winds are 214 at 5 knots. Cleared to land runway 19er right.
Cleared to land runway 19er right, Aeroflot 4003.
Okay, we're almost. Let's add thrust. Okay, looking pretty okay. But let's see. Did we get established? Yeah, we got landing clearance, that's good. Okay, now we're gonna be fighting this aircraft, get it to land. We're a bit lower than the glide slope. But yeah, it was my mistake, we didn't turn. We should have made a bigger turn radius. Then we would have been able to get this bird down pretty nicely. Okay, still looking good. Gonna pitch a bit up. Should be okay. We're maybe a bit slow. A bit too soon. I think you want to be pretty quick with this one, then kind of at the end you want to slow down. So just something to be aware of, that I'm not doing it completely by the books. Here's some trees missing. I need to add some of the fix some of this photoreal. Weird alignment. Okay, and we can throttle down just slightly. Let's see. Okay, looking good. We have lights, we have flaps, we have landing gear down. It should be fine, but let's see. We can throttle down a bit more. So we're a bit high. Minimums. Continue. Continue. Okay. Okay, we're getting the meter callouts, it seems like. We can go to retard. Okay.
Aeroflot 4003
pretty decent.
Contact Arlanda ground on 121.7.
Ground on 121.7, Aeroflot 4003.
Okay. Look at that. We did it. That's nice to see. This was a good flight. Not the best by any means. But very nice. Let's activate that one so we can taxi out of here. Let's brake a bit. Yeah, still looking good with the hydraulics. We didn't really need that one. Let's shut it.
Stockholm. The local time is 1:35 p.m. and it's currently about 0 degrees Celsius. You can now use your mobile devices. Please remain seated until the aircraft has come to a complete stop and the seatbelt sign is turned off. Remember to use caution when opening the overhead bins, as items may have shifted during
Okay,
the flight.
now let's
Thank you for flying with us.
Aeroflot 4003 ready to taxi.
Aeroflot 4003 taxi to stand 10.
Taxi to stand 10 Aeroflot
Let's get
4003.
And the APU started, right? There we go. Okay. God damn. What else do we need to do? Let me see, where is this one parked? Trying to see if we could, you know, park this one at the same as that picture, but I'm not sure. It's probably that one, which seems to be taken. Or maybe we can park at that one, it's close enough, right? Taxi to stand 10. That's what we're given. So not too bad. We can change this one to the landing, sorry, not the landing, the taxi lights. But yeah, we made it. This was a really fun flight. It's really growing on me, this plane. I did some trial flights, trying to get the trim to work. Because I hadn't set it up after the install. You have to set it up yourself. Do it on these, let me show you, these button rights. You have some other ones, autopilot, disconnect, etc. that I haven't set up, but I recommend you do. Just because it will make it easier, right? But yeah, here we are, Orbex Arlanda. Old, but still good. Mainly because Arlanda hasn't changed. Well, it's starting to be very changed now, but yeah, I still remember the old Arlanda. Or maybe not change too much here at the air side, but on the land side, yeah. Some changes. Okay, we should have the APU now somewhat up and running. I'm just gonna stop a bit just so we can get this one properly set. Okay, let's see when we get that light out. Yeah, that should be good. We can just check. Anything else we need to... I think it should be fine like this. But yeah, this was a bit of a longer video again. We're already over 2 hours, but I feel it was worth it, right? Flying this great, I mean, look at this landing gear. That's such an interesting setup, right? 3, or actually 6 wheels on each side, right? And 3 in a row. So yeah, very, very interesting. Okay, let's see. We'll use I use the rudder usually to taxi this one. It's better than using the one that's down there, since I can't use my tiller. Okay, and which parking is this? That must be 13, so this is 17. Oh, and that bus really didn't care. No follow me is needed. We can use aviator. We'll turn here. Let's see. I'm really interested in seeing landing rate and seeing the landing. I hope this one is very well implemented in terms of the replay mode. Okay. We can actually shut these ones. It's a bit too much light. Okay, let's see if we can stop on time. Oh, did we go a bit too far? Yeah, we went a bit too far. Can we remedy that with some thrust reversers? Interesting though that there's no... Where's the thrust reverse animation? Okay, there we go. Okay. That will have to do. I think the easiest way to just shut the engines is doing this. Not sure if it's the proper way to do it, but it kind of works. Yeah, we can get the slats. But yeah, we made it. We're here in Arlanda Airport. Let's see if we can get the jetway connected. Maybe we can open the door here, the first one. Main exit. Okay, it didn't really open. Closing. Let's have a look at the Pack X. We can do seatbelt signs off. We're still on taxiing in. So maybe if we open that door we'll get the... Or maybe some of the engines didn't shut. No, they did shut actually, so that's nice. Sometimes it's just a bit slow. Okay, let's see, did it now? Yeah, now we have the deboarding and flight 232. That's pretty nice. Could have been worse. And we're kinda, not really, but almost parked at the same place as this one, right? I mean, probably not exactly right, but you know, looks pretty close, right? So we'll take that. I'm guessing this might be one of the next ones. Possibly it's that one, or it might be. And actually, this one is the one I'm wondering if it is. But oh well. Doesn't really matter. Let's have a look at the replay and wrap up today's flight. We'll do 460. Oh, we have to go further back. 560 might be enough. So pretty happy. Once we took over control of the approach, then became much more fine to fly. Okay, it could have been much worse. And let's see, look at this beauty. You can see the flaps being down. It's just a very kind of aesthetic aircraft. Very unique, kind of the nose. Haven't seen any aircraft that looks similar to that. And then kind of the wing shape. It's very wide wing here, right at the fuselage. Okay, let's see, we're coming in a bit steep, then we start throttling down. We start pitching up, flaring. We miss the main threshold. We slow down. Do I pitch up? Yeah, we get down. Then I flare a bit too late. We get the... Well, there are no thrust reverser animation. But that's, you know, small details. Or maybe it didn't have. Maybe this is like an updated version that the thrust reverser could it have been shown here, right? Is this the thrust? Oh well. Tiny, tiny details. But yeah, that was it. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. I'm hoping to fly the Tupolev 134 soon enough. It's always fun to go a bit to these classic Russian or Soviet planes, because they're always a bit of a challenge to fly, which makes them a lot of fun to fly. And if you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them down below. And yeah, otherwise, until next time. Bye bye.